Hello, everyone. How you doing? Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully my audio is coming in loud and clear. I know last time we had some issues with the audio, but I appreciate you guys coming in and listening. Today, we've been doing these live interviews with some of our customers that are using our product for really cool and unique ways. Today, this is actually number 4 of the live interviews. So we're going to bring on Rob Trama. That's how you say it, correct? Did I get that
correct.
right?
Yep.
Rob Trama, he is in charge of operations over at Fodera Guitars. So I'm going to bring him in here. We're going to talk to him about some of the things he's using a 3D printer for, how he got into 3D printing, tell a little bit of his story. Hopefully this kind of stuff brings inspiration to you guys so you guys have a lot of success. If you have any questions, feel free to type a question in the question box down there. I'll either pop it up on the screen or I'll address it as we're going through this interview. And also, please let us know if we have any audio, video, any of those issues so we can fix it. All right, so I'm going to bring him in right here. Now he is live. How's it going, Rob?
Everything's going good. You?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on the live. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to talk to all the fans and users and anyone using our 3D printers or other 3D printers in general. That's just on our fan page. So first and foremost, I always ask a couple different priming questions. And obviously we have to start out with, who is Rob Trama? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Who am I? That's an interesting question. I'm originally a theater tech major. I worked at Juilliard as the technical director, assistant technical director and shop foreman for a while. And I needed a break from theater. So a family member of mine was relatives with the owner of Fodera Guitars. So I came over here about 8 years ago and started working here. So I'm a carpenter. I do a lot of work on CNC. I do a lot of CAD work. I do a lot of woodworking. I do a lot of everything mechanical. I take apart all the machines. I've taken apart this machine several times, all the way down and all the way back up. So that's
You're
sort of
maker.
Yeah, I try to be.
Yeah, I love it. Cool. And you're in charge of the operations at Fodera Guitars. Can you tell us a little bit about Fodera Guitars? Okay,
so Fodera Guitars was founded in 1983 by a couple of guys that became friends through working in a shop. And they wanted to produce an instrument that was truly custom, and they wanted to bring more quality into what they were making as opposed to, I don't want to say Fender and Gibson that they're low quality, because that's not the point I'm trying to get to, but they wanted to do something different. There was always things that they couldn't get their hands on that wasn't available. So they started making custom instruments. And slowly but surely, 35 years later, we're celebrating our 35th anniversary in 2018. We're still here.
Cool. Yeah, and for all of you guys that haven't checked it out, go check out Fodera Guitars. I mean, they have some incredible guitars. They're custom made. You can custom design your own. They obviously had a hefty price tag, but it's because of that quality that they put in each guitar.
And there's a lot of handwork. Almost, even with our machining capabilities, they're still 80 to 90% handmade between carving and all the custom work that we can do.
Nice. Okay, so about 3D printing, how did you discover 3D printing, or where did your interest stem from? I
don't remember what first, where I heard of it from. I've known of 3D printing for a long time. I looked here and there for years. And about 2 years ago, when I purchased the R1, with a 3-month period, I started looking very heavily into it because I just needed to be able to create things that I couldn't create on the CNC, or you couldn't necessarily carve. It was a little more difficult. I wanted to be able to print them. And I spent several months researching and doing everything I needed to do to what I was getting myself into, first off, because it is a big environment to get involved in. There is a lot of things to learn. And I came across Robo 3D, and what really set you guys apart from everyone else for me was both the print volume of the machine and the price tag. That was the 2 top items. And what really closed it was the environment of the users online, the people that were working with it, and the reputation you guys had built because of that and how open source it was. So that's what drove me in your direction and kept me there so far.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know that's watching, we have built up a pretty big community. We built this forums when we first started. After our Kickstarter campaign, we built this forums just to be a community where people can just go and talk about 3D printing. And now I think we're almost at 14,000 members on there. So
yeah, no, it's great.
Projects and people are helping each other. It's just been incredible. So yeah, thank you for, saying those nice things about it.
So well, thank you for making a machine that I can literally make almost anything I want to with a little bit of work.
Yeah, it looks like you hacked on it a little bit too, which is awesome. I love seeing that.
Yes, I mean, I made a couple adjustments to it. I couldn't not make adjustments to it. I'm too picky when it comes to quality, and not saying that the quality of it out the box wasn't good, but I always have to fine tune things. I'm not happy if things aren't better than what they're capable of being.
Yeah, most definitely. So when you started looking at 3D printing, it was primarily to be used at Fodera Guitars in ways that you saw it, or did you think of it like personally?
It was personal. That actually is my personal machine that I use at work for work purposes.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And they buy into, when I run through nozzles and material and stuff that I keep them going with things. It's proven to be very useful for us here. Cool. We've, when it comes to making small parts that are out of, Indian rosewood or ebony or something that's rare and hard to machine, because instead of making this by hand would have taken more than a day, and then trying to reverse engineer it to machine it and not knowing if it was going to work the first time, it was easy to take the drawings, build the CAD file, and then within an hour and a half I could print it. We physically put it on the instrument, tested it, it worked, made the changes we needed to, and then I was able to put the effort into actually cutting them out of wood. And that saves a lot of time.
For that specific part right there, that process, you normally said, how long would that process be? Because assuming you hand design it, then you go and put it on, and then you have to make a minor change. You have to go back and hand design it again.
Not just hand design it, but if you got to change the fixturing you created for the CNC, because small parts like this are hard to mount. So, to make the first one, you're probably going to spend a day or two making fixtures to make the first one. Yeah. And then not knowing if the drawing was communicated properly. So I've probably saved 3 or 4 days just of prototyping time just by printing the first one. And then we made a couple variant changes here and there, maybe 3 or 4 versions of it before we had a final one. And then
What's that specific piece right there that you're showing?
This is a tailpiece for a guitar. So basically it's one of our design. I can show you if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's show it.
Okay, so
this is what I like. Let's dive into it.
All right, get my hand out.
First off, look at how gorgeous that guitar is.
So this is one of our demo instruments. So it's this part right here. So this tailpiece is where the strings anchor into, and it houses a brass insert that we have machined for this purpose, and that helps with the sound of it. It helps transmit vibrations back into the body wood, because they're all solid body electric. So there is an aspect of it where frequency transmitting through wood, and sometimes the brass will transmit better. So that's the piece right there. And these as well have been subsequently modeled, because we were purchasing them and they just were not good quality, and we needed to make changes. So I prototyped them in order to make sure that all the fits were perfect. And to get really tight tolerances, because these are actually small and fragile mill too. So you don't want to go through all that work and then have it fall apart in your hands.
Yeah, we always talk about, when you look at 3D printing within businesses, a lot of people are like, we're not going to have full scale production of these parts, which is pretty obvious. The technology is extremely fast at this point in terms of desktop 3D printers, but when you use them as this medium where you can actually print these maybe a couple one-off parts, test them, and then go into production, that whole process normally takes a long time. Yeah, so being able to save that time doing those one-offs, because imagine you have 3 or 4 different iterations of it. That's a lot of time, whereas you have the 3D printing, it takes you, maybe a day to go through all 4 of those iterations.
Yeah. No, it probably took about a day, maybe 2, depending, because the modeling can get tricky. If you got to go back and redo it and you're modifying. So, what
software do you use to do the modeling?
I actually go back and forth between 3 different. Oh no, for software for modeling, I thought you said slicing. Sorry, I use Rhino 3D.
Okay. Did you teach yourself? How long have you been using that? Did you teach yourself?
I've been using that for about 7 years now. I came off of other modeling programs. I came off of Vectorworks. I had a little bit of CAD experience, but I took 2 classes with for Rhino, and from there I just went forward. So the rest of it is self-taught. You can only remember so much from 6-hour classes.
Yeah, exactly. Did you take all these pieces? Did they already have 3D models for them, or did you? Because is it a slightly different process when you made them all from scratch?
Yeah, they were. This tailpiece specifically just had a few drawings of it. Nothing modeled. It was just a side view, a top view, and a front view. And I took it from there and created the model. That took a little bit of time, but not any more time less time than having to make it by hand.
Yeah. So besides these, the prototypes that you're making, obviously that you're able to use in testing, and then build them for the production pieces. What else are you using? We use
we have some fixtures that we use. This is printed of a Talman bridge nylon.
Cool.
Basically, for our bass guitars, we have wooden pickup covers that we make, where the magnets sit inside. But we use this for locating some holes in them, getting the fit right for when they go in the cavity. So this is an early one that I was having some issues with the sizing of it, and the learning curve that comes along with different materials is always going to be a little bit of that. So
and Talman is a tough material to print with.
But once you get it down, I needed something slippery so it wouldn't get stuck in there, something that can be a little durable and not damage the material. So we have some fixtures around the shop. There's a couple safety fixtures in the shop that I've made. A couple parts for bandsaw replacements, inserts for various tools or handles or whatever breaks, that's going to break again, that's going to take a long time to get in the house. Once I make the model, I could just print it. If it breaks, I'll print another one. And it typically doesn't break, especially if you print in the Ninja Tech Armadillo. That stuff's very durable.
What's your favorite material that you've been printing with?
I like the carbon fiber PLA.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly
one of my favorites from look.
It's the finished product. It's the finished look of it that's the nicest. But I also I've done some stuff in the stainless steel PLA, and I polished it up. I don't have any. I made some chest sets, and I made a couple attachments for a lathe, and you can polish it to like a mirror finish, and it's really beautiful looking. So
for those fixture pieces, what were you guys using before to make the actual fixtures?
There were existing fixtures that they had machined a long time ago. They were just falling apart, and it's not as if any files existed. And they were made out of UHMW or Delrin or something like that, which is difficult to machine in general. And while I can do it, I'm not really set up for it. So
these are perfectly usable in your actual processes.
We use them. I have whoever's using them for this purpose has one of each size, one 4-string, 5-string, and one 6-string. So they use it constantly. We have bushings that press fit right in here for drilling. So everything's centered, everything's good with that. We have a couple safety fixtures for when the pickups, we have to route out the interior of them. It's a handheld pin router. And it's very easy to go past the pin, and there's an exposed spinning 1/2-inch carbide blade. So the guards I made actually hit the head of the. No, you don't. So the guards hit the head of the machine, so you can't actually get close enough for anything to, like, if it slips or if it jumps, there's an extra layer of protection for you. I modeled these paperwork hangers. They don't look like much. They're actually fit to the contour of the neck of a 5-string, and it fits across the board. And what it does is, I have one here set up. So we have all our paperwork with all the info for our instruments as it follows through the process, and we're signing off and checking off, making sure we're making it the right way. One of the headaches of a custom instrument. So we struggled for a while of a good way to track them with the instrument. We had vinyl sleeves, but they had brass fittings on them. They can easily ding an instrument, and you'd have to go back and do a lot of rework, especially if it's got paint on it. So this just slots right around the neck. I'll bring you guys back over here.
Nice.
So it's easy enough for me to just pop it on. This one's for guitar.
Production process.
and it follows the instruments through the production process.
Nice.
It took a little while.
How many steps does it take to build a full guitar?
How many steps? That's
it's probably different depending on what you're building.
They're all a little different, but I can give you more of a time frame.
Okay, yeah. What's the time frame on them?
Of just creating it before they get any paint or anything like that. It's a solid 3 weeks of work.
Oh wow!
And it jumps through various hands. So there's at least 24 various stages that they'll go through before the instrument's finished. So they follow. They have to go through a lot of hands. Paperwork gets lost here and there. Things happen. So it's a good way to follow through with all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're making prototypes. You guys are making fixtures. You guys are making parts that actually help just, I guess, organize the production of them.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you guys are?
We've done 1 or 2 things that have gone on instruments.
Okay.
These are tiny little spacers that I've made. I'm going to try and open them. They were quite a challenge to make in general, and I think anyone would have had a.
Oh wow!
You see how small they are. Make about 50 at a time. They're actually, when we were having some issues with the production of our bridges, there was a little bit of slack in the saddles, and they were a good way to temporarily adjust them until we can get new material in and replace them. It's hard to set up the instruments with that sort of defect. But then once new bridges came in, we were able to swap everything out and not have to do it. It comes, it's a mindset of the consumer of having a plastic product, especially on an $8,000 instrument. It's not something that they want to think about, even though there's nothing wrong with it. It's designed and made specifically for you.
Functionally okay,
yeah. Especially when I try and push. It's biodegradable. It's earth friendly. Especially with PLA. So I use that a lot for anything we do because at least it helps with the carbon footprint a little bit, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not going through a lot of rare rosewood. I'm printing a little bit of plastic that will eventually break down and not really harm anything.
Yeah, cool. I love it.
So
that's awesome. Yeah. So you said your favorite material you've been printing with is the carbon fiber PLA.
Yeah, and I have to say,
tried any of the color fab N-Gen?
I have not.
Material, the metallics.
I have not tried the N-Gen materials. I have used the color fab.
Okay.
At the CX20, or CX220, I can't remember what it is. I do have to say though, for ease and look, the Robo brand of the carbon fiber is my favorite at the moment.
Yeah, we've been through 4 or 5, maybe even 6 different suppliers of filament to find ones that we like.
Wherever you're getting it from, it's a nice one. It's one of the few ones that actually print with a 0.4 nozzle, so you don't have to switch up the nozzle and deal with all that.
So you've had the R1 Plus for what, 4 years? You said, or 2 years?
I got this in November of 2015, so it's about 2 years now, and I have an R2 at home.
Cool. Okay. Nice. Which one are you liking? I mean, are you liking the R2?
I like the R2. You know what? Yeah. They both have their pros and cons.
Yeah. It's funny because some people I talk to that R1 Plus users that have the R. I mean, they just have had such an attachment with the R1 since they got it, and they almost like that model better just because they've hacked on it, they've built on it. So I'm just curious. That's why I asked. The
R2 out of the box is a lot nicer of a machine and a lot better of a print quality, beyond doubt. I've gotten this guy gives the R2 a run for his money. I have to say that with everything I've done to it. But the R2, I like the removable print bed. There's a lot of aspects of it that are. I wish I could. Eventually I'm going to do to this guy and just have both of them that way. I keep them in competition with each other. So
cool. Hey, do you guys do anything at Fodera for? This is just a side note. Do you ever print? I'm sure you guys do shows and things like that, like trade shows. Do you guys print any swag giveaways or anything like that at the shows?
I've been trying to get something like a couple keychains here and there that I want to get made to send out with them. We do our NAMM show that's every year in California. It's in January actually, and. Okay. Right now, I haven't printed anything for that yet. It's a lot of it is just having the time to do it. But you know, I can print our logo on a business card or a keychain and print it out of wood. You know, I'll use some of the timber fill stuff and go that way.
Is there anything that you've seen in the 3D printing space recently or in the past that you were really excited about?
I am definitely. There's two things. The palette is one of them. I'm looking forward to eventually getting my hands on one of those because there is a lot I think I could do with it. And there is, it's not, I don't know if it's big in the industry yet, but it's something that's being created by HP or Epson, I don't remember. And it's, it probably costs $2 or $3 million by the time they start selling it. But it's I feel like it's 10 years out. Like they're producing it now, but the tech in it is really beyond anything I've seen. And I look forward to that essentially disseminating into the rest of the industry once it starts becoming a little more mainstream.
Most definitely.
But the multicolor printing is definitely a big one.
I just did a speech yesterday about the next 5 years of desktop 3D printing specifically, but I think a lot of that technology that's been around for a couple of years is starting to come obviously into more desktop style units, full color. I mean, the Palette Plus device is amazing. We've been using a lot here printing with it. It's getting easier and you know, the software is becoming much more accessible to actually be able to do 4 colors at once, 4 different materials. So I'm excited to see how that kind of changes in the future. One of the actually, there's a question that came in. Someone was asking if you can make any of the STL files available so they're one of our distributors, GoPrint 3D in UK, and they want to basically maybe show this video and they have a little part on display. I don't know if you're allowed to through there.
I can do like not the STL for this guy, but I can do one of our fixtures. I can definitely do that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I can. We'll figure that out.
We'll send that through Kevin as soon as we can, and then you guys can print it out and show it. It's a demo piece. Let's see if we
I have other ones that I don't have printed items here that I probably can. We'll figure something out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Someone asked if you're not using Dual Extrusion on the Robo R1 Plus, right?
No, I'm not. I did change out the extruder assembly.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
I redid. I didn't want to say the name, Brandon. I left it out.
That's okay.
It's a Bondtech BMG. A carriage didn't exist for the R1, so I modeled that and I tinkered with it till I got it working. And it makes a huge difference.
Nice.
And I think that would make a huge difference for every printer. Everyone could benefit from that guy. But no dual extrusion. I've thought about it, but I need time. We're busy here, so it's one of those things.
Right around the corner, you have the R2 right around the corner from launching the dual extrusion, so it's going to be coming soon. I know everyone's been like waiting on it. We're making sure that we release it and it looks good.
I was getting antsy to the point where I was getting ready to do it myself.
Yeah, I know it's interesting because obviously like we have them running in our facility here, but to put them in production is a whole different thing. Obviously, you know that. Anytime we do a demo instrument like that and we start doing it in production, they ask, well, why is it so hard to make it in production? Because you didn't think it through. Yeah, exactly.
Like you got to do like real runs of it before you send it out into the world. Yeah. And so I get that. I totally understand that.
Last question I want to ask you is, do you plan on, I know you've been mentioning some different 3D printers that you're interested in, maybe more expensive ones. Do you plan on have you talked to anyone there, or do you specifically plan on expanding your 3D printing capabilities? Do you think eventually that you're going to be actually making, like 3D printing capabilities going to be good enough to actually make guitar pieces that people can actually take home?
I hope so, yeah. I think, we do offer plastic covers that we get for our pickups. I do eventually want to start making those because then we can do our logo on it. We can, have a little more freedom with the file. But I don't know that it's just the quality, because the quality always increases it with the different materials as well, because the materials really where it's at. And that seems to be, the pace that's evolving and developing seems to be unstoppable at the moment. But I think as 3D printing becomes a little more mainstream in homes in general across the country and across the globe, people will be a little more open to having parts like that. Like I can 3D print a part like knobs and other hardware that we can make, and people probably won't know until they break it in some fashion, because people do things like that. So I think it's more of a consumer mindset at the moment, as opposed to the capability. It's got the capability to do it. I've wanted to. I've made parts that like, let's do this, and they're like,
you ever try and sneak them on there to a production model?
I've got one set of these on one instrument out there, and the customer was okay with it. He went back to a different style set of pickups, and there would have been a big gap around the pickup and the cavity in it. So we made, and not out of glow in the dark. I did it out of black ABS, but it was a nice clean insert. It made it look really good. The guy loved it. So it's really just a mindset. I think once more people start using it and becomes more available in homes, prices will keep going down. It'll really be more of a countertop.
I mean, I know I'm excited for it. I think it's going to happen. I think with more content that comes out, when big businesses start, like the Sonys of the world and the Whirlpools of the world, start giving, having digital inventories and having content available online that we can pay for.
New parts when something breaks.
Yeah, it's that really cool. So.
You break a gear, you can put in some nylon and replace it. And you don't have to go and have a guy come into your house and take it apart or tell you it's not working or whatever. You can fix it yourself.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Where do we go, or where do people go if they're interested in finding out more about Fodera? Well,
we do have a Facebook page. We do have a Fodera Facebook page. Is that simple? And our website, Fodera.com.
Fodera.com. They make amazing guitars. Go check them out. They're located in Brooklyn. They've been around for how long?
35. Yeah, 2018 is our 35th anniversary. So
wow, that's incredible.
35 years.
And lastly, because we're in the theme of guitars and we have these guitar kits, I'm going to give one of these away to someone in the comments section. So comment saying you want a 3D printed guitar kit or something about what you want to make this 3D printed guitar kit for. And I'm going to pick someone within the next probably 2 hours. So anyone that is watching it after the fact, they can also have a chance to get this. But thank you so much, Rob, for coming on, spending some time with us, inspiring the people that are using, any 3D printers, whether it's ours or a different brand, that are just part of our Facebook group. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And I think everyone's going to be, hopefully that is in a business, going to be inspired about what you're doing.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, cool. I know we've been talking to you, trying to get you on, and we did this for anyone that's watching. We did this a long time ago, me and Rob, just one-on-one, like a video that I was recording that we were going to eventually get to do on YouTube. So it's good to have you back around. That was about a year ago, so maybe even longer. So it's good to have you back.
That was right in the beginning. That was almost 2 years now. So that was early on. But that's great. I'm great. Yeah. I'm glad to be a part of the Robo family. And any way I can help out, let me know.
All right, cool. Thanks, Rob. And go check out Fodera Guitars. Thank you, guys.